Free mind, you crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Regie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This show, the one that you are watching right now, is the Ready, Set, Go preview show. A show that I feel like I have not done in quite some time. I feel like it's been a while since we did a Sunday show, yet here we are, and I want to send out to everyone, all the dads out there, all the fathers, real children, fur children, I don't care what kind of child you have. Happy Father's Day to all the dads, and I hope that each and every one of you had a special day. My day has been very long. I will tell you that I was up early doing things around the house, pulling weeds, watering the grass, doing the things that have to be done regardless of the day that it is, but it has been a fantastic day. My wife asked me if I wanted to go and hang out with my parents, and I was like, no, I do not. I want to stay here at my house and enjoy the day. I will probably see my parents a little bit later today, but again, shout out to all the fathers out there. For those that don't know, this is a show that we do on Sunday, and we do this show to get the week started off on the right foot. And as part of this show, we typically talk about some news and we talk about some current events, things that are top of mind for me and may also be top of mind for you. But in addition to that, I give you a preview of some of the content that is going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. And there is a healthy amount of pre-recorded content and then also some live streams that will be taking place this week. So I will give you guys a rundown of that in a hot moment. Kingpin Comics is in the house. For those folks that are on Instagram, I want to encourage you guys, if you are interested, to check out One True Nerd King. _true_nerd king. One word, One True Nerd King on Instagram. His child is undergoing chemotherapy. He has actually been a guest on the show before. Cool guy. I enjoy him. Funny guy. And despite things that are going on in his life, he is still putting out some really great content on the Instagram machine. He is doing some sales. He is selling off parts of his collection in order to raise funds. There are also several auctions that are taking place on Instagram right now, claim sales, if you will, where you can bid on books. People of the community are donating books to raise funds to offset the cost associated with chemotherapy for his daughter. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know all the details of it. There are a couple of things that I don't navigate very well. And one of them is like illness, especially illness involving children and just children in general. I do not do well with those things. I don't know the details. I don't know. A call was sent out. A call has been responded to, and I'm passing the information on if folks want to support him. And again, it is One True Nerd King on Instagram. If someone could put up the thing there, I would appreciate it. So I have not seen anything like that. I have not seen anything like that. I one of the posts that I did see, he's like, I have like $3,000 worth of books that I'm going to sell off in order to raise funds. I think he is choosing to leverage his comic book collection to raise the funds necessary versus the GoFundMe route. But shout out to One True Nerd King and all of the other people that are trying to raise funds. One of them is Melinda's Comics. I think she was the very first person that I saw that put something up. And Dan Coyle is the other person. Those are the two people that I've seen that have put up books for auction. I've bid on both books. And now One True Nerd King is making parts of his collection available as well to raise some of the funds. So there you go. Man, there are some things I just don't do well with. My mother, I don't know if I told people this. My mother at one point had an illness, and I did not talk to her for a period of time just because it was unfathomable to me to be here and not have my mom, right? So that was a struggle. I just struggled with it. She recently had a little bit of a scare that proved to be like not founded in anything, which was great. And I was able to kind of navigate through that a little bit. I didn't actually talk to her about it, but I heard about it from my wife. My wife does much better with this kind of stuff. But thanks, thankfully my mother is doing well, and fingers crossed we can raise some funds for one true nerd king in order to offset the costs associated with what he is. He is a good dude. He is a good dude, no doubt about it. All right. So go ahead and we'll make a very difficult pivot, very difficult pivot. Let me give you guys a rundown of some of the content that is going to be coming out from the channel this week. And I will tell you, in one of the pre-recorded videos, I will be giving you an opportunity to score a $100 credit from my friends over at Shortbox. For the last several months, they have been sponsoring 2 videos on the channel. One of those videos is an offer for people to win a credit. All you have to do is to watch the video and leave a substantive comment behind on that video for an opportunity to actually win a $100 credit to be able to buy anything that you can find on the app. And I can tell you for a fact, there are books there that will cost you less than 100 and slightly more than 100. And then, of course, well above that. It just depends upon what you are looking for and what you want to spend. But a $100 credit can buy you a slab on the Shortbox platform, which is the easiest and safest way to buy and sell graded comic books. And there typically is a link in the description. If there isn't right now, we'll put one up so you guys can download the app if you haven't. With that said, a couple of cool videos that are coming out this week. One of those videos is reasons why, despite what I just said, you should keep your comic book collection raw. I made this video a couple of weeks ago. I'm just getting around to releasing it. So that's one video that's going to come out. I also was digging in the 100K collection recently and found some really awesome books. Nothing too crazy, but definitely some really awesome books. So I'm going to show you guys some 100K finds. And, like 90 some odd percent of my collection is still raw. So I'm speaking from a good vantage point. Another video that I'm going to be dropping is a follow-up to several videos that I've done in the past. Like, I want to say it was back in maybe into January, February, when I recorded a video in which I said that comic book values potentially were going to tumble. And if this proved to be true, that what it would create is a great opportunity to pick up some really awesome books at more affordable prices. And what we are seeing now is prices are indeed tumbling. So in this video, I highlight a couple of books that folks may want to be on the lookout for. Potentially, these are books that were already on your radar. And I'm like, hey, if this was a book that was on your want list, but it was too pricey before, now might be the time to actually get on. So we're going to identify a couple of books in that video. And then in addition to that, we're going to do the Comics Today show on Wednesday, 2 live shows, Sunday and Wednesday. The Sunday show, the one you're watching right now, is done at 7:30, and the one on Wednesday is done at 7 p.m. all Eastern Standard Time. All 3 pre-recorded videos are at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that's the rundown for the content that is going to be dropping this weekend. What is that? Trev says, I prefer raw now over graded. You can get them graded later. It depends on the book. I don't know that I would disagree with that. But a lot of it does depend upon the book. It depends upon the book and whether you're buying online or whether you're buying in person, and how expensive that book is, and how good your grading skills are, and your negotiation skills, and your ability to spot color touch. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So there you go. If you have the cash, you can buy comics, cards, crypto stock at a discount right now. No doubt about it. I think it was Milt. Milt sent me a message probably a month ago. He said, sell your crypto stock now. He said, my son is selling this crypto. His friends are anticipating a big drop. And he was like a soothsayer, because fast forward a couple of weeks, Bitcoin is like 50% off right now. You can make some magic happen. Matt Wood says, I think comics are dropping even more. I made the decision to put my money on grading my current books, not buying very many books right now. I respect it. With that said, Matt Woods, Slight lie. Slight lie. You did buy some extra copies of Isolation. Hey. All right, let me move on. All right. So, before we get to the main topic there, Chuck, before we get to the main topic, there is something that I wanted to talk briefly about. And I want to do this because this is actually something that we spoke about on the channel before. And I think the community as a whole has also made some comments about this, made some comments about why is it that the publishers are not leveraging what is happening in the movies to drive views of comics, and why are they not leveraging all of the excitement around the movie, any movie, to drive people, to drive readers into LCSs, to drive people to actually check out the source material. I also spoke recently a lot about graphic novels. And what I found is essentially it is about to go down. Potentially, DC is going to be stepping its game up and trying to make some magic happen as it relates to bridging movies to comics, kind of, sort of, slash graphic novels, but also stepping their game up and releasing some graphic novels that may capture people's attention, may even pull in some new readers. So this is an article that I found on comicbook.com. DC's Shazam movies to get their own tie-in graphic novel. And again, this is pretty cool. It says we are a few months away from the debut of Shazam Fury of the Gods, with the DC sequel having its release date move forward to December of this year. The sequel is expected to bring a new adventure for Billy Batson and the various members of his family, a focus that delighted fans when the original film came out in 2019. In anticipation of the new movie, DC is releasing a new young adult graphic novel set within the film's universe. And they go on to talk about, they have some details. The graphic novel is dropping November 29th. Okay. So the Shazam movie has been moved forward, which is fantastic. It's in the can. It's ready to rock. There's a lot of excitement about whether The Rock is going to appear in this thing. I don't know whether that magic is going to get made. It would be amazing if it did. But what we are seeing here is that DC is leveraging the excitement of the movie to have a lead-in graphic novel, a graphic novel that is geared towards young readers, young adult graphic novels set in the very universe that the movie is going to be based on, which I think is really smart. I think it is really smart and really well done. Once upon a time, DC was actually king of the hill when it came to graphic novels, but they have had a fall from grace. If you watch one of my recent videos, they are no longer in the top two. It is Viz Media and Scholastic that are number 1 and 2. But here it is, a Shazam Thundercrack is the name of the graphic novel that is going to be released. And it there's a little synopsis here where basically Billy Batson, he's a high school kid that is trying to play football, and he recognizes that he may have some advantages over the other kids. So I thought it was just a really cute cover and a really awesome thing to maybe signal that DC is listening, that they're thinking, that they're leveraging what they have, which is a popular asset, and they're trying to find ways to tie it into the other things that they do. Hopefully the movie will be a success. Fingers crossed the graphic novel does well. Fingers crossed that there are some young adults that pick this thing up and are actually interested in the comic, to the point of one of my videos earlier this week about future generations supporting graphic novels and comics. So we shall see what happens. We hold on to characters that drove us in our youth, but kids aren't into it. I disagree, sir. I disagree with that kids are not into it. I would encourage you to take a look at one of the previous videos that I released, because there are ample stories in the comments of that video where teachers, where parents are talking about the things that they do in their lives that demonstrate that children are indeed into comics and reading. Because a lot of people are like, kids don't read. My kids are literally in the other room or reading right now. My wife does homework with my kids every single day, and they read every single day. Kids indeed do read. Um, I've got nothing to add. I've got nothing to add to that. Well done, sir. All right, let me scroll through these comments. Let me see. Problem is, name one current ongoing run from DC or Marvel that is aimed at younger generation besides this one. Well, there's an entire line of Marvel comics that are being released from Scholastic that are geared towards children. So you have Miles Morales. You also have the Miss Marvel series that is out there right now. All of those are being released via Scholastics, but it's Marvel properties that are being released. From DC, there are also 2 or 3 books, I do believe, that feature Beast Boy and Raven, that were on the top 750 books that were graphic novels that were released in 2021. So I think that's 4 or 5 books that I just named there. So again, I do believe that there are a healthy number of books that are geared towards young adults. If you take a look at the new show, the Miss Marvel show, I was talking to several people. I don't feel like that Miss Marvel show is actually geared towards me as a 45-year-old man. I feel like it's really geared towards to the younger generation. You know, I watched the first 15 minutes and I was like, this is really cute. Not for me. And I'm actually okay with that. I'm actually okay with there being something out there that is geared towards the next generation, because I think that, to someone else's point, if we can continue to put out cartoons and shows and movies that speak to these kids, it plants a seed. It plants a seed that shows up in Target or shows up on some pajamas or some gift that they get from their grandparents, and may also resonate when they're flipping through Scholastics and they're seeing Marvel and DC comics in Scholastics next to the Dogman comics, that will hopefully resonate and will capture their attention and ultimately get them into the hobby. Fingers crossed. It is amazing that my children literally still watch the same cartoons that I watched as a kid. So Transformers, G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, they're watching the exact same cartoons that I watched as a kid, which I just think is fantastic. So, all right, let me get to the main topic at hand. The main topic at hand is the $200 million debacle that is Ezra Miller. And there were several articles that came out this weekend that were a little misleading. They were a little misleading because when you read some of these headlines, essentially what the headlines were saying was that DC has moved away from Ezra Miller. They are turning their back on Ezra Miller and the Flash franchise. They are just putting him to the curb because of all the chaos that is Ezra Miller. And if there's enough sad stuff out there, you can go and watch it. Just watch one of my last live streams that I did. I spent some time talking about how sad this situation is. But these headlines that came out had us believing that DC had made a decision. They are cutting bait. They are not releasing the Flash movie. That does not appear to be true. It does not appear to be true. The article, when you go back to the source article, it essentially points to the fact that DC has a couple of options, and at no point does it say that they have landed on an option. It simply says that they have a couple of options. So here is I do believe one of the original articles that came out from Deadline. It says Slabs, who is I think the CEO of Warner. I think I could get that wrong. We'll see it later on. But his first movie crisis: what to do with Ezra Miller, the erratic star of Warner Brothers' $200 million Flash franchise launch. The movie cost $200 million. Ridiculous. Even though it isn't on the Warner Brothers release calendar until June 23, 2023. Let me redo that. June 23rd, 2023. The Flash is becoming Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Slab's first movie crisis because of the escalating coverage of incidents of this behavior, volatile and odd behavior involving Ezra Miller. It says Zalaf has made it clear his desire to grow the DC universe to MCU scale and has all the ingredients of a first foot forward in the Flash franchise. There's a lot there. First foot forward in the Flash. You gotta love that, including the return of Michael Keaton as Batman, Ben Affleck, and a $200 million budget, the hot director, etc., etc. Let me scroll through this one. Oh, I talked to some other people about the cancellation of the Wonder Twins. At the end of the day, this dude wants to make some magic happen. This Flash movie was supposed to be a huge turning point for DC, for Warner Brothers, as it relates to what they were trying to do. It was supposed to be, again, them pivoting towards making magic happen similar to the MCU. And they have this actor who is not doing what he's supposed to do. He is not keeping his nose clean. He is just getting in all kinds of trouble month after month after month. Deadline has heard the studio has tried to get help for Miller, which that actually gives me a lot of comfort. That gives me a lot of comfort that at least they're trying, right? So Deadline has heard the studio has tried to get help for Ezra Miller, but the troubling headlines continue to pile up. Could you send a potential liability on a global publicity tour and have the actor anchor a huge studio franchise play? ? The answer is no. The answer is no, because you never know what could happen. It says Zalaf has several choices and he will make one of them soon, which I don't, maybe make one of them soon. The movie's not even coming out to June 23, 2023. It says among them, Zalaf can pull back on promoting the movie, which is supposed to drop, basically just putting it out there, right? He can stream it to HBO Max and take a write down because he probably won't make as much money, or he can lean into it and then drop Ezra later on if they can't straighten things out. Let's just be completely honest. They're probably not going to be able to straighten this thing out. This thing is not going to be cleaned up. And at some point in here, I think it talks about how they hope that this thing will quiet down as they get closer to the release of this movie in 2023. I don't know if that's going to happen, right? There's allegations of him grooming a 12-year-old and also grooming a 12-year-old that is now an 18-year-old that he is on the run with. All you can see happening is him getting caught and bad things happening. But they are holding their breath. They are holding their breath that Ezra Miller, who is 29 years of age, will kind of get his stuff together and that they will be able to release this movie. That is essentially where this thing is headed. We are hoping that we can still release this movie. It does not appear that they've made a decision to cut bait with him as of yet. It sounds like they're still trying to figure some things out. Sounds like they're going to release this movie, but they have a couple of decisions as to how they do it, how much more money they pump into it. A lot of people would prefer that they dump him and pivot to the other Flash, the TV Flash, but only time will tell which way the wind blows on this thing. Let me go to the chat. It looks like I am not going to read some of those comments. All right, Aaron says, not saying I asked for it, but I watch a Wonder Twins movie. I think a lot of people were excited about the Wonder Twins movie. And I think David Zalaf, who is known for micromanaging things, according to Deadline, he decided to kill it because he thought that it was too niche. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like a niche character, a set of characters gives you a lot of latitude to play with those characters where there won't be the outrage of you changing the character too much. Like who is going to have outrage towards Guardians of the Galaxy? And I love them because they're a really great example of what you can take with, when you take IP, you can shape it into what you want it to be, and it can be really awesome if done well. Peacemaker is another example. Who saw Peacemaker and Vigilante being awesome? No one saw it, yet it was pretty awesome. Wonder Twins could have been amazing if they had the intestinal fortitude to power through it. DC needs an old sugar pie. Oh my goodness. There's a couple of comments again I am not going to read. They have 200 million invested, so the movie will come and they will say bye-bye to Ezra. Future Flash character will be recast. That is a great option. And I think the article, I skipped over it. I think that they actually did that with Johnny Depp. They did that with Johnny Depp in another series after he after the decision in the UK, where I think Amber Heard actually won that lawsuit. They dropped Johnny as a result of that. So they have a history of releasing movies, dropping the problematic person and pivoting on. Johnny's situation was bad, but like Ezra's on a whole different level. So let me scroll through some of this. Yeah, man. There you go. Wonder Twins could have worked if it was something like or close to Peacemaker. And I think what's important here is that no one is saying that DC should be Marvel. No one is saying that. No one is saying that. What we are saying is there is a lot of great IP out there that can work if you put the right team in place. And if they can bring all of that creative energy, they can make a lot of stuff actually work. Scrolling through, let me see what else you guys are talking about. What is that? Wonder Twins didn't have James Gunn attached to it. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know if I could predict the future, right? Because I mean, Deep is saying that it would have been mediocre at best. I would say, how many people said that Peacemaker was going to fail before Peacemaker came out? A lot of people. A lot of people said that it was going to fail, and we were pleasantly surprised, right? I like to think positively, and I think that anything is possible. Again, how many people poo-pooed the Batman? How many people poo-pooed the new glistening Batman back when he was announced? How many people poo-pooed the Joker movie before it was released? I still haven't seen the whole thing because mental illness is not something I do well with. It is really tough to say that anything in the future is going to be bad without a lot of evidence, right? So anyway, scrolling through, let me see. Do you think Johnny Depp? I don't think Johnny Depp wants to come back to Pirates. I mean, at least I think that's what he said from the stand, that he had no interest in it. So who knows? Maybe he's playing hard to get. Maybe he's playing hard to get the money up there. Jack Sparrow's a dope character. Scrolling through, that's a good one. So wait a minute here. Alex is saying, I think this whole situation will make big movie studios have contingency plans in case their actors go rogue because a lot of money and jobs are at stake. You know, it would surprise me, bro, if they didn't have clauses in their contracts. I would be very surprised if they did not have clauses in their contracts already. And if they don't, shame on them. Shame on them. I'll be honest. I have contracts that have clauses in them about my behavior as a content creator. You know, no one controls what I say. But if I cross certain lines, then yeah, certain things are, you're only a smart business person if you have contingencies in place. And if they don't have something around Ezra Miller, that would be a huge mistake, not just for Ezra, but for everybody involved in the deal. Whoever put the deal together, that's a bad deal. That is legitimately a bad deal. Let me take that off the screen. Deep Matt Wood says DC has so many great stories and characters that could be incredible movies. I wish they could figure out the cinematic storytelling issues that they have. I don't disagree. Don't disagree. And you don't have to be Marvel. You don't have to be Marvel. Just tell some good stories, great characters, put a creative team in place, build an infrastructure around these folks, give them direction, give them freedom, give them guardrails, right? I think you have to do it all, right? But it's possible. It's possible. So scrolling through some of the comments here. There was a Jack Sparrow Blue Ocean recently. I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm including myself with Doug, have identified several really awesome Blue Ocean books that have borne fruit. They have borne fruit over the last several months. So again, don't miss the Blue Ocean videos, man. Do not miss those. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Let me see. That's what I'm thinking. Matt Woods, everybody wants him back now. Lewis, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate it. It was a fantastic day. It was a fantastic day of pulling weeds, watering the lawn, cutting bushes. And eventually I did sit down and get a little quiet time in, which was great. I know films have to have insurance to shoot. I'm wondering if there is something that would cover your stars acting this way. There are a couple of guys out there, a couple of folks, and I use that term loosely, a couple of folks out there that probably have a lot of insight. I think I saw one comment already about some of that, but there's a lot of people out there that have some insight into this stuff that may be able to help us. What is that? What's up, Reggie? I'm trying to be a professional comic book grader. You think working at a Goodwill grading books is a good step? You know, what I would say to you is anything that involves you placing your hand on books and evaluating the grades of those books is probably going to be a very good step. When I spoke with the head grader at CGC, the best piece of that is now the president, the best piece of advice that he gave was, you know, if you want to learn how to grade comics, get out there, touch them, experience a lot of stuff, and assign grades to those books. And he was like, that's like the best way to gain some real experience. So do it at a Goodwill, do it at a comic shop, do it where you do it, brother. Get it done. All right, scrolling through some of the comments here. I think Marvel scoops up Johnny Depp to be the Savage Avenger. Well done. No, I think what he's saying is that Goodwill actually sells books and they price the books based upon the condition of the books. Like there's a lot of Goodwills because I've hit a lot of them because, you know, you have to go where people don't go for books. So I go to the Goodwill and they will have good books behind the counter. And those books will not be priced at $1. Those books will not be out in the public on next to the DVDs and the CDs where people can just thumb through them. They will have some of the good books set off to the side. And I've hit a healthy number of Goodwill stores and stuff like that, specifically looking for comics. So what is that? I've never seen a single comic book at a Goodwill. Still waiting. I'm going to tell you, man. They are there. I've never actually bought any because the books are not the ones that I want. But trust me when I tell you, they are at Goodwills. And I think maybe Matt Woods is like me going to Walmart. People swear that there's comics at Walmart. I have never seen a comic book inside of a Walmart personally. I've never seen it. I may not be going to the right Walmarts. I may not go often enough or whatever, but I've never seen it. There you go. I sometimes have to keep some secrets to myself, ladies and gentlemen. I go where other people don't go looking for comics, antique stores, antique districts, those malls, consignment malls. I'm telling you, there are books to be found. Trust me when I tell you. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's a 181 out there. I'm not saying that. There you go. I'm gonna tell you, I look, and I will not find them. I cannot create a video on everything. I cannot create a video on everything. All right. So one other thing that I want to talk to you, and I think this was Mark that sent this one over to me. Back to the Future, I do believe has set a new record for the most expensive VHS tape sold. This goes back to some conversations that we had with Nerdy Girl. I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's been a long time. Nerdy Girl told me to buy VHS and I could not bring myself to do it. Now I'm kicking myself because a copy of Back to the Future sold for $75,000. Now there are some caveats. To this one. This one was a famously owned VHS, but a VHS copy of Back to the Future sells for $75,000, setting a new auction record. This was I guess, is that an 80 plus? I don't know the grading scale for this thing, but it was a VGA VHS tape, and it was actually owned by Biff Tannen. The actor Tom Wilson, who played Biff Tannen in the 80s film, basically put his books up on eBay. Put his VHS tapes up on eBay. And when people started to be interested in them, he decided to pull them down. He pulled them down and he took them over to Heritage, and Heritage ended up selling some of these things. One of them was the 1986 VHS tape of Back to the Future, sold again for $75K, but he also had in there Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3, and also Back to the Future box trilogy set, which I guess came out at some point in the 1990s. What made these really awesome is that he also I think he's going to send along a personalized note or something like that to the people that actually won these things. But it was a New York-based collector that won the bid for the VHS tape from Heritage, adding at the $75,000 price tag, the highest price ever paid at auction for a sealed graded VHS tape. And I will tell you, there's some awesome movies right here. VHS tapes are experiencing a resurgence among collectors, with Heritage auctions fetching big money for films like The Goonies, dope movie, Ghostbusters, dope movie, and also Jaws, incredible movie that I just recently went back and rewatched again. Those are all three really awesome movies. What'll be interesting is whether this has any kind of trickle down effect. Again, this was a famous movie, famous VHS tape owned by a famous person. And so will there be a trickle down effect to the regular folks that are selling these VHS tapes graded? It'll be interesting to kind of see, especially with what is happening with inflation and all that other stuff. But I thought that was an interesting story. Shout out to nerdy girl Danielle for encouraging me to buy graded VHS tapes. And yeah, I did not do it. So and the next question is, what's the next hot thing? I don't know what it is, but VHS tapes are selling for some big money, which I think is fascinating. I think this one was also like sealed.
Sorry, could you say that again?
No, I cannot. No, I can't. A lot of these are also sealed. So don't think that you can go to the Goodwill and pick these up, because those are probably not the copies that you want. And yes, there are a ton of VHS tapes at the Goodwill, because I've been there as I've been looking for the comics, that I've passed aisles upon aisles of VHS tapes. All right, so let me go back to the no one wants your 8 tracks until they do. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Tube socks are next. There you go. That's what's up. No one indeed. I mean, she turns on at the most inopportune times. What is that? There was a comment there. Movie discs and beta tapes. I have a sealed laser disc of them. That's what's up. You got to hold on to this stuff, man. And then you have people selling comic book collections because they fear that the next generation won't actually care about comics. Can you even buy a VCR tape? Like, these are graded VHS tapes. Like, no one's watching that thing ever yet. $75,000. Am I selling my collection? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Only get VHS sealed to invest if your grandma, granny seal everything up in plastic. They really do. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, hey, check it out. So my brother was here this weekend, right? My brother was here with his girlfriend, and my brother wanted to see some old photos of my parents. So I go and I get the bag. I get the bag in the envelope, right, of all the photos that my mom has sent me. Like, here, take these. I don't want these anymore, right? So I go, and in the bottom of one of the bags is a bag, and inside the bag is some of my baby hair. Yes, it's nasty, I know, but next, real, can they slab reels? Can they slab? Can someone tell this to can you guys are hilarious. You guys are on a roll tonight. First oh, that's a good movie, bro. First VHS tape I ever owned was Beverly Hills Cop. Such a good movie. Because he was from Detroit. We were so proud to have Detroit mentioned in a movie. We were super pumped. I remember back as a kid, I thought that it was amazing. I thought, how do you know that I'm not the clone, sir? How do you know that you are not looking at Especially because I can't grow it anymore. You know what I'm saying? You guys are hilarious. You guys are on a roll. What is that? Red is that Reggie? You're the generation. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. My mother never bronzed the shoes, but I do think that there may have been those hard shoes, man, that may have hung from a rear view mirror, right? Those shoes were hard, man. You get kicked by a baby wearing those little hard white shoes with the brown soles. That'll set you back just a little bit. But my mother has so much stuff. I think that I still have a Michael Jackson jacket with all the zippers on it. You remember the black one with the zippers? I think that's still at the house somewhere. My mom has a lot of that stuff. You guys remember a couple of years ago, I unboxed toys. That my mother gave me because she was like, we have to get this out of the storage unit. So, all right, let me move on. One of the other things that I wanted to hip you guys to is it seems like to me, and I know a lot of people have whatever feelings about Disney. A lot of people have feelings about Disney, but Disney seems to be on a little bit of a roll. Like they are in the IP business. And I had this big conversation with somebody. They were like, Disney is in trouble. Disney is going down. I'm like, well, what makes you say that? And they were like, well, their stock price. And I'm like, well, first of all, they have 14. No, was it 14 or 44? They had some big number in the billions in cash. And I'm like, yeah, their stock price is not looking so good, but they have billions in cash. They're doing fine. They seem to be buying a lot of stuff. So they reacquired the rights to Aliens. They reacquired the rights to Predator. And it appears that they've now reacquired the rights, I think, to Planet of the Apes. And as a result of them acquiring the rights to these properties, they are also allowing Marvel to produce comics to support the entire franchise. And this is a really smart thing. Like, you have to think of it in terms of locking up the IP and then taking that IP and spreading it across the different things that it can be spread to, whether they be comics or graphic novels or merchandising or movies or TV shows. That is, or theme parks, which are also on the rebound. That is the name of the game. The other thing they acquired was, what is it? The 20-year rights to use Stan Lee's likeness, which was met with a little bit of controversy, but yet they did it. So Marvel is set to produce Planet of the Apes. The Planet of the Apes returns as a surprise Marvel comic book. This actually dropped a couple of days ago. Marvel Comics is bringing back another classic licensed comic book property the publisher once held in the 70s. In this case, it is Planet of the Apes. Starting in 2023, Marvel Comics will publish a new Planet of the Apes comic book story for the first time since the 1975 adaptation of Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes is a good franchise. I will tell you, I think that it is a good franchise. I watched the original. I watched the Mark Wahlberg version. I like Planet of the Apes, man. So they talk a little bit about how excited they are about having it back. We're thrilled to welcome Planet of the Apes back to the House of Ideas. This comes from the editor-in-chief. The new saga in the pipeline is going to explore the limits of what this beloved franchise has to offer through bold comics storytelling, and we look forward to setting foot on this new adventure. So Planet of the Apes is coming back, man. It is going down. This is a super old franchise. Again, like kind of sort of like Aliens, kind of sort of like Predator, but they are making magic happen. Planet of the Apes is back. I don't know that I've ever read a Planet of the Apes story. And I'm gonna be completely honest, Doug, I'm surprised that you haven't done a Blue Ocean script for this one. I'm surprised that you have not uncovered some Planet of the Apes. You're normally way ahead of the curve on this. But yeah, this is an article. Where was this article? On Newsarama. I think this is Newsarama. Yeah, newsarama.com. Planet of the Apes is back. So again, what is old is new again. Again, I don't know that we could have seen Planet of the Apes coming back yet. Here it is making magic. Let me see. The 2000 Planet of the Apes was weird. I have several graded number ones of adventures. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up, Wayne. It's possible because I is that the one, Wayne, that was actually released via Curtis? Was that the Curtis imprint from Marvel that released that? I don't know the whole Planet of the Apes lineage in terms of publication history, but let me know. Agreed. Planet of the Apes, that Statue of the Liberty scene was a shocker. That's what's up. Uh, you guys are hilarious. You guys are hilarious. Let me see. I'm scrolling through. Disney has 23 billion. Sony has 19 billion. Apple has Sweet Christmas 123 billion. That is ridiculous. That is so much money. So much money. And it might have been 14.4. It might have been 14.4 when I saw it, but that data might have been from Q1. Yeah, so that might have been Q1 data. It appears to have gone up, and a lot of people will say, Disney is going to get rid of Marvel Comics. They've been saying that for such a long time, but you have to think the source material that is contained in comics is generating billions of dollars through the movies, through the merchandising, and all of that other stuff. Even if you don't make a dime off the comic, you are still making a ton of money off of the IP because of the other things that you are doing. If they are bringing back Planet of the Apes, rest assured that they are going to make some money off of that. No, it's the Marvel comic. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. The Curtis were first, I think, then the comics. There you go. Okay. I knew Curtis was in there somewhere, but again, I don't know the whole lineage. Me too, brother. Me too. Yeah, I take 0.9 in a heartbeat, easy breezy. You wouldn't even have to twist my arm to make that one. All right, let me see. I'm scrolling through, looking at some of the comments here. You guys are on a roll tonight. So for those folks that tuned in a little late, we actually covered a lot of material, including Marvel Comics bringing back Planet of the Apes. We spoke a little bit about Ezra Miller and the $200 million debacle that he is, and that David Zalav is struggling with, trying to sort out. I don't remember what else we talked about, but there was some good stuff. There was some good stuff that we talked about already in the show. So if you guys missed that, you definitely want to hit the rewind and back up. One other thing I forgot to mention is that we are going to be releasing a podcast on Monday. I think my brother is setting it up for Monday. It may have been released today because he is taking a trip for his birthday. So he may have released it a little early, but there should be a podcast that is either coming or is already out. Jay says Planet of the Apes movies are dope, especially the OG ones. That's what's up. You cannot forget about that. With Steve Conge. Steve Conge has a dope shirt. If you're on Instagram, check out his dope shirt on Instagram. I got a big kick. I got a big kick out of that one. Let me see. I'm scrolling through. Okay, I'm all caught up on the comments here. So one other thing that I wanted to hip you guys. Well, two other things. If you are a subscriber of the Swoldier supply box, which is more than 2 pounds of comic book supplies. It is a subscription that you can sign up for on regiecollects.com. I have bundled up all of the subscription orders and also the single box orders. I will be mailing all of that stuff on Monday. You should have received your tracking number via email already. There was one person that I may have messed that up on. The first one that I did, I was a little out of practice since last month, but I may have messed up one person. But generally speaking, if you are a subscriber to the Swoldier supply box, or you picked up one of the single boxes, you should have your tracking number. I will be mailing all of that stuff out. And I hope to have something really cool for the July box, but June is basically done. We have shut that down. So I wanted to make sure that I hipped you guys to that. Speaking of isolation, I also wanted to hip you guys to the comic shops that are now supporting isolation. You can actually pick up copies of the book locally, and I would definitely encourage you to reach out to these LCSs and make sure you reserve your copy, because they're not getting a ton. Some of them are getting a lot, some of them are not getting a ton. But if you want to save yourself a couple of bucks on shipping, reach out to the LCSs, reserve your copies now. JAF Comics in PA. Nirvana Comics in Knoxville, Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, and they have 7 locations around Maryland and Virginia. Boomer Comics in South Carolina, Dr. Comics and Mr. Games in Oakland, California, a place that I have been and hit up their back issues. And then also Comic and Figure Addicts, one of my former LCSs in Union City, California. California is definitely representing. Look at this. So I lived in Maryland, so they got that one. I am near South Carolina, so we got that one. And then these California locations, the 3 of them are all shops that I used to go to. Shout out to all the owners at these LCSs for supporting. And the last one here that I did not mention was Fantastic Comics. My buddy Yule in Berkeley, California. He has popped up in the live streams a couple of times over the last several months. These are the comic shops that are carrying Isolation. Again, if you want to get a copy, please reach out to these LCSs. I also have to acknowledge all of the folks that have reached out to their LCSs to inquire about carrying Isolation. It doesn't matter whether the LCS has decided to carry it or not. I have to say thank you to every single person that has reached out to their LCS to encourage them to carry it. At the end of the day, these owners have to make their own business decisions, but I appreciate the community rallying around this project and supporting it. I am super excited to start. Let me take that back. I am ready for you guys to read the book. I'm not super excited about getting the copies and having to do the work of bagging and boarding, mailing them all out, but I am excited about you all having an opportunity to actually read this comic and take a look at the artwork. Matt Woods actually did a video. He did a video on YouTube, if you guys haven't checked that out, where he actually covers Isolation. I sent him one of the ash cans, and he spent some time talking about the ash can. So check out Matt Woods here on the YouTube machine. Let me see. Shout out Squirrel Madness. Squirrel Madness is holding me down. He is essentially serving as the distributor. He is serving as the distributor for Canada. So if you are a Canadian and you want to actually pick up a copy of Isolation, you can reach out to me. We can talk a little bit about it. I can put you in touch with Squirrel Madness, and he can give you all the details on how he's going to handle distribution of some of that stuff. That's just mean. That's just me. Somebody, who is that? Philtastic. So I did insert in this month's Swoldier supply box 5 copies of the Isolation ash can. There are only 5 that are being sent out. I have no clue who gets them because of the way that I put the orders together. I literally have no clue what is inside anyone's box. But Philtastic, I am having positive thoughts for you, brother. I also think that this is your first Father's Day. So fingers crossed for you, brother, that you actually are able to get it. If you are lucky enough to get a copy of Isolation, the ash can, there are some directions in there. We're going to ask you not to reveal any of the panels from inside the book unless it is already on the website. We want to try to keep some mystery for those folks that are not fortunate enough to get the ash can. So if you get it, try not to. No, please don't. Please don't reveal all the secrets inside of the first 7 pages of Isolation. If you are also a subscriber for the Swoldier supply box, there are also, I want to say, a handful of copies of Renfield that I've inserted in as well. This is a comic that came out from my buddy Steve Conge. If you get one of the Renfields, make sure that if you post it on social media, tag Steve Conge, tag me, we will reshare it. Steve is actually a fantastic artist that has also done a cover for Isolation. Creators, supporting creators. I appreciate you, brother. All right, let's keep this thing moving. I think that is about it. Michael B. Jordan, man, you cannot go wrong. He is a talented actor. Michael B. Jordan is a talented actor. Does not matter what they put him in, he will shine. All right, let me give you guys again a quick rundown of some of the content that's going to be coming out from the channel this week. some comic values have tumbled, and I'm going to identify a couple of books that you may have had on your radar that are now potentially selling for less than what they historically have, which means that this could be a good time to pick those books up. I went through the 100K collection. I found some really awesome books, so I'm going to be showing you some of those books. And then in addition to that, I'll be releasing a video where I tell you that you might want to keep your books raw. You might want to consider keeping your collection raw, and I run down the reasons behind that. And in one of those videos that I just mentioned, there will be an opportunity for you to win a $100 credit from our friends over at Shortbox for anything on their awesome app, which I was on earlier today looking at a couple of books, and fingers crossed that I don't know. I have some expenses. I can't buy anything as much as it hurts my heart. So I'm going to have to buy some things vicariously through some of you guys. All right. With that said, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me again. Shout out to all of those fathers out there. I hope that you guys enjoy the remainder of your day and the remainder of your weekend. Take care.